Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to yet another Q&A session on Hinduism. If you're joining us now, please just give us a moment. We are in the process of just setting up the YouTube live stream at the same time. So if you would bear with us for a minute, and we are now live on YouTube as well. So good afternoon again, everybody. My name is Nishit Kotak. I'm here with Jay Lakhani. Jay bhai, welcome to the broadcast for today.
Thank you, Nishit bhai.
For the viewers who are watching us for the very first time, let me just give you a little introduction of what we do. So Jay bhai and myself, we meet every Saturday here live online. We are live on facebook.com/Hindu Academy or on youtube.com/Hindu Academy. And what we are trying to do is trying to promote Hinduism. We're trying to answer the questions that you, the viewers, may be having regarding Hinduism. And I'll just give you a little background about Jay bhai for those of you who may be joining us on the broadcast for the very first time. So Jay bhai is a speaker on spiritual Hinduism or spiritual humanism rather, and he's also the editor of 2 books related to the teaching of Hinduism in the schools in the UK. He has been involved in talking about Hinduism for the past over 25 years now?
Indeed. Yes.
Well over 25 years. And he is also one of the very first lecturers to speak on Hinduism at prestigious colleges like Eton and so on, right? And you've taught many hundreds of children over the course of your time.
Absolutely. Lots of people, lots of youngsters.
So Jay bhai's background is he's a theoretical physicist since the 1970s. And so I'm very excited to do this broadcast every Saturday with him, because it gives us a chance to see what you, the viewers, have got in your mind about Hinduism in the modern context, and see how we can best help you understand and come to terms with it and embrace it fully. So Jay bhai, tomorrow we are celebrating the Republic Day for India. It's a big day for many people, most of us who come from that part of the world. But however, what I'd like to do is maybe explore some of the predictions that Swami Vivekananda had made regarding the future of India, which is turning out to be a vibrant nation.
Indeed.
So perhaps you can share some of your thoughts on this.
Indeed. You see, Swami Vivekananda would normally not do this kind of magic miracle and say, I'll tell you what's the future. But once in a while, he can't help himself but just, tell us what he can see in front of his eyes regarding the future of India as well as other issues. I just touch on a few of them, very interesting. First, a personal one. He kept telling his brother disciples, look, I will not live till the age of 40. And he said, why is he talking like this? He's a very healthy, young, very vibrant person. And he kept telling them, I will not reach the age of 40. He passed away at the age of 39 years and about 5 months. So, somehow this guy knew exactly what is happening, and he was planning, preparing to even leave this world. Now also, a few other predictions he made at the end of last century, which are very relevant, are as follows. You'll be surprised how well, these predictions have come true. He said within 50 years, India will attain independence. But then he put a caveat, saying in a very unusual manner. So I said, what does this mean by unusual manner? He means this non-violent movement and blah, blah, etc. So he already predicted that, and that came absolutely true. The other prediction he made, which was very frightening and very true, is this. At the end of last century, he said, Europe is sitting on a time bomb. Because the countries in Europe are so keen on a materialistic agenda, they are going out to push each other aside, control each other, rule others, and because of this tremendous materialistic agenda they are focusing on, there will be a bloodbath in Europe. There will be a world war in Europe. He said this in early 19. So he said, this is incredible. How did he know? And we saw 2 world wars where millions of people were massacred just for position, power, money, countries, and so on. So both these predictions have come true. Now regarding prediction about India, he said something very interesting. He repeated this 2 or 3 times in his lifetime. He said, you may think that the glorious period of ancient India was the time of Buddha. It's true, that was the golden period. Everything prospered. Arts, music, science, university, everything prospered during the Buddhistic period. So that was the golden period. In fact, whenever any visitor passed through India, some from China, I said, they would say that we do not know what is this nation is all about. Nobody knows how to tell a lie. It's incredible. It's some guileless people. They must tell the truth. They don't know what is lying. He said, I've not seen any nation like this. So many visitors in the past have commented on this wonderful golden period of India. Now, today if you go to India and ask anything, I'm sorry to say, nobody seems to tell the truth. They send you off the wrong way. So I'm very, very nervous. But then Vivekananda said something very interesting. He said, my friend, We seem to be at the bottom of the cycle. But in days to come, he said, India will rise up more, it will be more glorious than it was in the past. And I said, how can it be more glorious? He could see that in front of his eyes. He said the following. He said, after India gets independence, it will be drawn to a very materialistic agenda, surprisingly. Let's look at India today. If I ask a person in media in India to talk about Hinduism or promote these ideas that we are promoting about this comprehensive and modern vision of Hinduism, they'll just shut me out. They say, there's no time for it. They just want Bollywood and dancing girls. So I stand no chance. So what was predicted by Vivekananda is certainly true. Today, modern India cannot relate to spirituality or Hinduism at all. I'm telling you bluntly. I'm talking about the man on the street. They can only, kind of subscribe to the idea of materialism, make bigger house, bigger car, buy fridge, buy this, marry the best beautiful girl, and live happily ever after. So this kind of highly materialistic agenda that we see in modern India was predicted by Vivekananda. He said we are going to go through that phase. Because unless you go through the materialistic phase, you can't become mature enough to think about spirituality. You have to go through this phase. He could see that. And we are going through that phase at the moment. So you have to pass through this materialistic phase to grow out of it. Otherwise you always feel, if I can only have this and then I'll be happy. And until you go through it, then you mature out of it like the Western world. Then you can go towards spirituality. And he also said the same thing. He said the message I'm giving you, the spiritual plant, the seeds that I'm sowing, the best fertile soil, you'll be surprised. He says not the United States even, it's United Kingdom. He said this steady Englishman will absorb these ideas, the deeper vision is promoting of spirituality suited to our age. He'll absorb it, and from England it will broadcast all over the world. See what we are doing?
Yes,
we are following Vivekananda's predictions. There we are.
Indeed.
So you could see that the steady Englishman can easily absorb these ideas of spiritual humanism, focusing on humanity rather than God in heaven, focusing on the idea of egalitarian society, equality to everybody, dignity for everybody. These are wonderful ideas at the heart of Hinduism, and he could see England being the best, if you like, carrier of these ideas. And we see that today in London. I'm telling you, England has very checkered history. They were nasty people, pirates, looting from other parts of the world. Suddenly, after the Second World War, they really matured dramatically. So you got this wonderful egalitarian, social democracy, and this is ideas that Vivekananda would really relate to very closely, saying, yes, this is what spirituality is all about. So we say that in UK today. But he also said the following. He said, don't worry. He said a few hundred years, and not immediately, these ideas will revive and refresh Hinduism to such a great extent. This nation, which was essentially spiritual anyway, will in a way spit out materialism and re-embrace spirituality and become more glorious than it was ever in the past. And I look at modern India and say, oh dear, we have to wait perhaps a few hundred years or so. It makes me feel, I can't wait till then. So it makes me a bit worried. But these are the predictions of Swami Vivekananda. And you can see all these predictions come true because these are prophetic people. They don't want to make a show that they can predict the future and I'll tell you who's going to be the winner in the lottery, etc. They talk about this kind of deeper vision regarding spirituality and how it relates to the world that we live in. So this is why we love Vivekananda. I love him anyway.
Brilliant. So folks, if you've just joined us, remember you're watching us on either facebook.com/Hindu Academy or on youtube.com/Hindu Academy. Give us a thumbs up or a like. Feel free to share your questions in the comments area. We do have questions already ready here from the previous broadcast, and we now move on to the next question. So when we want to open up let's say a screw, we need to find the right screwdriver for it. We need a star one for the star screwdriver, a flat one for the flat screw, etc. So the right tool for the right job. In Hinduism, we've got gods galore. And we got, if we want goddess of wealth, we pray for her. Somebody for giving you very good brains. Somebody to make you a singer, etc., etc. We've got many gods and goddesses, but it's always about what can I get from them. But yet we all say God is one. The ultimate reality is just one. So then why is it that we so fully, wholeheartedly embrace this concept of one God for one purpose?
Nice thing to explore. Look, it's like this. I'll give another example, kind of interesting metaphor. Look, when my wife looks at me, she sees me as her husband. I'm the same person, but she sees me as a husband. When my granddaughter looks at me, she says, Nana. She sees me as Nana. So everybody that I come across, when my mother used to look at me, she would say, my son. So even though I'm the same person, different individuals will call me by different names and aspire for different things from me. My granddaughter is looking for toys. and my wife is looking for holidays. So this is how it is. So in the same way, it's a good one. Does it apply everywhere?
It does, universal.
So the same ultimate reality, you can subscribe to the same ultimate reality depending on your needs. Suppose somebody wants to be very rich and beautiful, they'll say, Saraswati, focus on the idea of ultimate reality as Lakshmi, wealth and beauty. Suppose somebody wants to be very intelligent, clever, educated, and become master in music, he'll look at Saraswati, the mother goddess for learning and education and art and music. So in a way, the same one can be thought of in different ways depending on your own requirements. So I'm just saying, remember this example I give you. In all our families, you'll see you are viewed in different light by different members of your family. Your child will say, can you pay my fees? Your wife will say holidays and so on. And your grandmother will say, I must go on pilgrimage. So be it. So the same person takes on different roles to fulfill different requirements. It's a wonderful way of saying screwdrivers.
So we move on to the next question. So we have a lot of people who are Indians out in the diaspora outside India. We're very well settled into other countries and we're doing really, really well everywhere. One of the challenges we have outside India is sometimes we do not have access to things to give us our own, embrace our own religion very, very closely. Maybe it's the environment around us or whatever it may be. But it is truly up to us to keep ourselves abreast with our religion and embrace it fully wherever we are, right? Home is where we make it, as we say. So why is it that there are so many Indians who are outside, so many Indians or Hindus who are living outside India, but they're not waking up to help India, where we see it has become more materialistic, it has become more westernized and is losing touch with Hinduism, but yet people outside are still retaining it from what I can see.
Absolutely. In fact, my experience, a lot of youngsters I come across who live in the United Kingdom are better informed about Hinduism than most of the Hindu youngsters in India. Really, because they have not been exposed to Hinduism in a sensible manner, in a structured manner through the education system. Because with this lovely earlier government, they pulled Hinduism out of the system, education system, as if it is a villain. And that is why Hinduism is not visible with the Hindu youngsters, even people who are born into, in the media work. They don't know anything about Hinduism except it being something weird and good, interesting, colorful background, but that's all is weird. So most of Hindu youngsters in India have not been exposed to Hinduism whatsoever. That's why they're very scattered. So India itself, the youth in India are losing Hinduism big time. No exaggeration. As I said, their goal now is materialism, as Vivekananda predicted. That's all they're focusing on. Make money and, grab as much as you can and put in your back pocket. Forget about helping others and helping the weak. No, it's all forgotten. It's just money, grabbing money. So we are going through this highly materialistic phase in India. Now the Hindus who moved out of India have now come to the West, in USA, UK, etc. And they have seen this mature vision that has now materialized in the Western world of dignifying humanity, giving equal rights. All these ideas are so much visible in England, for example, and we are amazed at the amount of effort they put in to help the disabled or the weak in the society or the minorities. So here they really go out of their way, genuinely. So they have matured out of this highly materialistic agenda to engage with a spiritual agenda. So the Hindus who are outside India are able to see that. So they can integrate the wonderful philosophy they possess with the actual physical, the practical ideas they see in front of their eyes. So I say to myself, the Hinduism we have in India is the theory. The Hinduism that is seen here being practiced in the West is if you like, practicing Hinduism. So these are practical Hindus, practicing Hindus, while we are just theoretical Hindus. So my job has been, in this very humble manner, to try and marry the theory with the
practical application.
Practice, yeah, and that is happening now. So this is in fact an unfortunate situation. But one good thing is this: we saw that when Modi arrived here, the amount of support, the amount of tremendous fever he created in the Hindu population in the West, USA, India, UK, etc., was very visible. Even Cameron was said, I can never get an audience like this. When he came with Modi in Wembley Stadium.
In fact, I was there.
I was there as well.
Yes.
Cold, shivering. But I must see our Modi. So you see, the Western Hindus are now relating to the vision that comes with this kind of more modern vision of politics that is becoming visible in India. Look, let me be very clear, because sometimes people say, Mr. Lakhani, don't be political. It's not that I'm promoting Modi. That's not my job. It's the Hindu public who can decide who's the leader. What I'm saying is I can clearly see that the Indian nation is stirring up and trying to refresh itself, revive itself as a Hindu nation, and then they throw up the right politician to do their job. So it's not that Modi is doing it. The nation itself is stirring up and waking up. That is what impresses me.
It's finding its own conduit.
That's right. He said, this is our backbone is spirituality. Let's embrace it again. And that's why the political system is moving in that direction.
Amazing. So just a quick welcome to some of our viewers. We've got Akash Puller, we've got Rani Narendranath, we've got Supriya, we've got Dharam Ujjwal Singh, Paula K, Anuj Mishra, Samay, Nikhil, Sagar, Prabhat, Rajiv, and so many others. Thank you all so much for joining us on the conversation today. And we've got a lot of interesting topics still to go through with you all. So before we go on, Jaypa, we had a question from one of the viewers. He's saying, where are we heading towards? What is humanity moving to?
You see, I'm no Vivekananda.
Deep question.
I'm not Vivekananda, so I can't make a prediction. But one thing is this. You see, there is people say, Mr. Lakhani, do you have faith in God? I say, no, you'll be surprised. I have faith in humanity. You'll be surprised. You say, we don't. You see, human beings are naughty. They close to, they sail very close to the wind, almost they're about to, like we are seeing with the environmental issues now. They close they sail very close to the wind. We think they'll topple over, but we are such a versatile animal. We get out of it. We find innovative ways of fighting, environmental issues, etc. So even though we go through some difficult patches, overall humanity is evolving in the right direction. Do you know why? Why I'm so sure? Because the underpinning to reality, this thing that's bubbling up as human beings, is the spirit. It's got infinite power, tremendous power. So it will overcome all obstacles, find solution to all the obstacles, and move on. So I am highly optimistic regarding the future of humanity and the future of the whole of this nation, all the countries. Because the people who are running this are essentially the spirit, and they cannot be, waylaid. They will find their way. They'll have struggles. They'll go through, winding ways, but they will find their solution. Because I said, my faith is not in a God, but in humanity to resolve its own issues and conditions. Do you know what, Mishibhai, why Hinduism really struggled in the last 1,000 years?
Mm-hmm.
We had lost faith in ourselves. Now we put all our faith into thousands of gods. I don't blame them, fair enough. But now when the conquerors came, when the invaders came, we are praying, oh Mother Goddess, sort us out. Oh, Vishnu, Shiva, come and take an avatar and help us. We are being butchered. Our women are being raped and taken away in slavery. Did any of them turn up? Simple message from modern vision, Vivekananda. My friends, the resolution of your human condition lies with you, not with some external god or goddesses. So when you put too much faith and attention on these gods and goddesses, when the time comes, nobody popped up. So we got butchered. So it's time for us to now stand on our own feet and sort ourselves out rather than, I'm not saying vilifying gods and goddesses, I'm simply saying put them on the sideline. They're a nice kind of way of, iconic way of becoming spiritual. Go keep them on. I'm not saying push them aside. But saying real focus should be on yourself, on ourselves, to resolve our issue. And this we had lost. We lost track of it with all these gods and goddesses messing us up. So we said, no, sort ourselves out, then gods and goddesses will take care of themselves.
Great. So we have another viewer who's asking this question about the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the central scriptures. And it has been written by a number of people over the years. So the question was, which is the most real one without having the author's interpretation, slanting things?
Yes. Okay, let's take this. It's
most authentic one.
It's a very broad question. In fact, this question will address the issue of why some religions are a bit naughty, if I can use the word, and very kind of cantankerous, while some are very peaceful. And this answers the same question. Let me tell you. When a prophet of any tradition gets a spiritual experience, a dramatic experience, mind-blowing, and he has difficulty in finding words or to relate to his own experience, he'll struggle. So when he tries to understand his own experience of high spiritual experience, his transcendent experience beyond words, when he tries to get a handle on it, his mindset kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
That is why we see the same ultimate reality experienced by different prophets, but when some prophets try to interpret it in their own use, they would use some very violent methods. See, this is visible in one of the world religions. So they will prescribe some violent method because that's the mindset they possess. It's a very kind of cantankerous community, cantankerous society. So the response they give, the understanding they have about their own spiritual experience comes in this kind of colored in this manner. So somebody said, Mr. Lakhani, if ultimately really the same, why do the prophet give different messages? Because when they try and understand their own experience and give it, explain it, their own mindset is already kicking in and coloring it. That is why we have different prescription. One is saying, oh peace, everybody peace, and still there's cantankerous as a kill the non-believers, all that. So this is the reason why you have this variation. Now the same is true regarding the interpretation of Bhagavad Gita. Now look, Bhagavad Gita, we would say without hesitation, all Hindus throughout the world will say is the central scripture we can kind of happily relate to. We feel like a wonderful combination of Shruti, Smriti, and synthesis of the Upanishadic teaching. So it's a wonderful textbook, no problem. But now, depending on the person who is trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita, they will give a different slant. It's not because the Bhagavad Gita is kind of weird. Because when I try and understand something, any subject, my own mindset will try and see how do I grab it, how do I handle it. And so every modern acharyas we have had with Adi Shankara, Ramanujacharya, etc., they will try and in a way give a slanted vision of the same Bhagavad Gita. It's visible. So whenever I look at the Bhagavad Gita, I'm very nervous because there are some very cultish movement who are giving a very slanted, very blinkered vision regarding the Bhagavad Gita, which I cannot relate to, and I feel very upset by it. So please be aware. If you go to a cultish movement, their particular interpretation of Bhagavad Gita will be cultish. I would say avoid. Just check them out. If they are very broad-minded Hindus who are quite keen to promote a comprehensive vision of Hinduism, you are safe. Suppose you really push me hard and say, give me one movement that will give me perhaps a more comprehensive and honest interpretation of Bhagavad Gita. I would say one movement that I like very much is called the Divine Life Society in Rishikesh. And Swami Shivananda used to run it. There's some other Swami at the moment. But I've noticed they've produced a lot of literature, even a lot of, if you like, bhashyas, interpretation, explanation of the scriptures, and they have been reasonably comprehensive and not slanted in any way. So I'm not promoting one movement or other, but from my own experience of reading Bhagavad Gita from various groups, this one has been, if you like, in my own opinion, perhaps the most comprehensive and sensible vision of the Bhagavad Gita. Divine Life Society. I'm not here to promote one over the other, but I'm simply in my own experience, their material is very comprehensive.
Great. So we have loads of viewers who've got questions today. One of them is Anuj Mishra. I'm going to ask his question because it relates to what you just said now. So he says, inspired by Raman Maharishi, I do meditation on the self. So a few days back, I hit a part of me which is continuously showering bliss across my body. What is happening to me?
Okay, look, my friend, I've said this before to other viewers as well. If that experience makes you feel empowered, makes you feel stronger about yourself, you come out smiling and you feel that you feel thrilled. Whenever you get any experience through meditation or through any other activity, religious activity, if it makes you feel sharp and more focused and more empowered, the word is empowered, then you are on the right track. You don't need Mr. Lakhani to rubber stamp it. You're already there. You will know it. Because the bliss that you feel flowing through your system, because Ramana Maharshi is not a minor personality, he's one of the top modern giants of India. So if Ramana Maharshi is attracting you, it's already signaling that you are really ready for spiritual progress. You are on the cusp of a major breakthrough. So if you attract to Ramana Maharshi, you are lucky, my friend, very lucky. And whatever bliss is flowing in his name when you're meditating, etc., carry on in that pathway. And the trick is, the litmus test, do you feel empowered? If you start begin to feel miserable and weak about yourself, stop it. Then move to something else. But at the moment it's working for you, so I'm saying you're on the right path. Carry on, my friend. Wish you well.
Amazing. So we've got a few hellos to say. We've got Sagar watching us from Bengaluru. We've got Prabhat Ranjan. We've got Trushar watching us from the US. We've got Keshav, Prashant. We've got Shilpi from New Delhi. We've got Mr. Balam from the Washington State in USA, Akash Pula, and so many others. So we were talking about happiness or bliss just now. So I think it is time for me to throw you a googly.
Go for it.
So is happiness just chemicals flowing through your brain or something more?
Happiness is more to do with the physicality of your being rather than something spiritual. Be careful, there's a big difference.
Yes.
Happiness and unhappiness are, if you like, the part and parcel of the
human condition.
That's right. You're ahead of me now. It's part and parcel of human condition. You see, when you have a physical body, there are certain things that if you eat, you feel you'll be healthier, you'll survive, the sweet stuff, etc. You say, how happy. And there are certain things that you eat, like poison or something, you feel, that's telling you your body is saying wrong thing, you are going to die if you eat stuff like this. So the physicality of happiness and unhappiness are very much if a part and parcel of the realm that you exist in, physical realm that you exist in. So they have nothing to do. In a way, they are not. Our problem is human beings in a way kind of misunderstand happiness as bliss. It is not the same. Unless you touch bliss, you don't know what the heck it is, what you are missing. Happiness and unhappiness are part and parcel of your physical condition, human condition. It can be physical or it can be mental. But the bliss that we are talking about comes from the simple word. It is something that when you exist, the bliss of existence, I just exist, whether I'm good, bad, happy or unhappy, by the way, I'm happy or unhappy, that's under the external underpinning, I exist. And when that kind of focus goes on what exists, happiness or unhappiness, when you take your focus away from that, because it's about distraction. When you focus on I exist, I'm happy but I exist. And when, look, it happens with me. I do that all the time. I exist. And then that becomes blissful. That's a different kind of, nothing to do with happiness or unhappiness. They are part and parcel of the territory that you kind of inhabit, the physical and the mental territory in which you are kind of surviving. Even the mental stuff, somebody says a good word, I feel, elated. And somebody says a bad word, I feel upset all day. See, that's a part of your mind games. But the bliss is bliss of existence. That's the only way you can define bliss.
Amazing. Brilliant. So, this morning when we were talking to some of the kids on Hinduism.
He's so lucky he talks to kids every morning. You know, that's the most refreshing thing you can do because they can give you a different slant on everything. Your own thinking is knocked out. So you're lucky.
So the topic was, we were talking about Shiva and the cosmic dance, and we were talking about Om and the Lingam and all that sort of a thing. So we were talking about the Vedic scriptures and how in the Vedas we had, the rishis had already talking about the sun being the center of our sort of solar system, talked about the planets and so on and so forth. And we know that we have some branch called the Vedic sciences. And modern science is now just starting to realize some of the things that they've already talked about. So the question somebody has asked, his name is Himanshu Sehra, is what is the correlation between Vedic science and modern science?
Very close. They are strongly intertwined. I tell you why. You see, first of all, let me just touch on this idea of cosmic, understanding for the cosmos that Hindus had. You see, the earliest university in the world was not in Middle East or understand reality. All these are inner, if you like, our inner structure. So coming to terms with the laws that operate in the external world, as well as coming to terms with the laws that operate in the inner world, is how dharma is defined. Dharma, what is everything? What is underpinning everything? And how is it different from how you define science? Whether it's hard science, physics and maths or physics and chemistry and all that, or soft science, psychology and anthropology and physics. So there is we cannot distinguish them apart. They are same. They're talking the same thing using slightly different vocabulary. So we have no difficulty with science. We never had. In fact, I sometimes challenge. I say tomorrow if science discovers something that goes against my understanding of Hinduism, do you know what I'll do? I'll spit out Hinduism. Because science in a way is a very structured method of understanding reality, very highly, it has got tremendous integrity, and through the integrity of science, we're discovering the same things that our Vedic teachings were talking about. So we have a tremendous respect. That's why my background is theoretical physics. Sorry, digressing.
No problem. So one of the topics we explored today was why Hindus are normally vegetarians, and it is because of the concept that we believe that all living things around us are to be respected. In fact, some of the Jains take it very, very seriously and don't even have tubers or things that grow below the ground because they say that you're harming the insects and so on down there, or the plants and so on. So with this kind of thinking, I was told that the first pet veterinary was actually started in India.
Yeah.
So we Indians love animals, and we were exploring the concept of Darwin's theory of evolution.
Indeed.
So related to this is a preamble to the question from Rohit Kumar. The question is, how do we explain the existence of God? And why did God create humans? If we look at the theory of evolution, how we are the end result. So the question is, how do we explain the concept of the existence of God? And why did God create us?
Okay, look, Rohit, rather than repeat the lecture, I've done so many lectures on Hinduism has got two flavors. Personality-oriented Hinduism with all the gods and goddesses, you can Shiva or Mother Goddess or Vishnu. And principle-oriented Hinduism, which just talks about the underpinning to this reality is a principle, not a personality, called Brahma. Brahma is not Brahma, not the creator God. It is Brahma, a principle. This is, if you like, Apurushaya Hinduism, means principle-oriented Hinduism. This is the foundation of Hinduism. This is how Hinduism actually started. The gods and goddesses came later as a method to relate to this deeper vision we had regarding Brahma. That is the reason. Now, when you have any philosophic challenge, who created the universe, etc., if you say Vishnu is in trouble. If you say Shiva is in trouble, it's true. Because the world we see around is so violent and so horrendous. You say, if he created is a nuisance. Same with the Abrahamic tradition. They can't respond to the question why God created such horrible universe. So this question, when you go to a personality-oriented religion, any religion including Hinduism, you are in trouble, straight away, bluntly I'm telling you. But when you go to the principle-oriented Hinduism, you are absolutely safe. In fact, you give the better answer, saying the underpinning is something Brahma pure. When it manifests as a creation and becomes visible as a living thing and more visible as human beings, he pays a price, a tax. The tax is unfortunately the reason, because underpinning this reality is Brahman, but when it manifests itself, it pays a price, suffers. So this is the real reason. So if you say who created, I say we agree with modern cosmology, spontaneous creation. No, God saying hello, ting, I start you off, because then that God is in trouble. Because why did he start us off like that? So our idea is spontaneous. It just happens. Underpinning is spirit just opens up and the trouble starts. So the tax we pay for taking on a physical form is, if you like, this idea of principle-oriented Hinduism.
Brilliant. So we have a viewer, Jeremiah Johnson, and Jeremiah is asking this question. If a converted Hindu has a Christian name, is it recommended to change their name? Now, I don't think we have the word conversion is not correct. We have somebody who has chosen Hinduism as a way of life, and we call it initiation, right?
Fine. Look, my friend, if you really embrace the deeper vision of Hinduism, which comes with wonderful, comprehensive ideas regarding who we are, why we are here, etc., you're already a real Hindu compared to most Hindus with Hindu names. So even if you've got kind of name which has got nothing to do with Hinduism, that is external, my friend. It's just an external label you put on yourself. That doesn't make you who you are. So I'm saying if you embrace this deeper vision of Hinduism, you're already a better Hindu than most Hindus I come across. So I wish you well.
Brilliant. So the next question we have is from a viewer called, I don't get the name, but the question is all about studying IGCSE Hinduism. So that is the technical examination for Hinduism in the UK, and I suppose it's an international examination you can sit for at a eligible center.
Any part of the world. Okay.
Right.
Let me give background. The word is GCSE, means General Certificate of Education in United Kingdom, and you can subject any subject. You can do GCSE in any subject you like in the United Kingdom. There are various boards like Edexcel, London-based board, Cambridge, etc., who will in a way kind of produce this material, the syllabus and the marking scheme and their own examiners for you. They will mark you and give you grades. And this is fine. We have been doing it for 25 years. Perhaps the earliest Hindu body teaching GCSE Hinduism in the United Kingdom. I'm not exaggerating. Few thousand youngsters have gone through our system. In the last few years, half of them used to get 100% marks. And when I asked the examiner, why do you give 100% marks? He said, Mr. Lakhani, your students seem to know more than we do. That is our wonderful track record on GCSE. Things were going well. They said nearly half of them getting 100% marks. You can't do better. Then suddenly the UK government decided rather than teach one religion at a time, let's mix up two religions. And the reason is very simple. You can understand why. They wanted to stop fighting in the name of religion. So they said you can teach Hinduism, but you must teach another religion as well at the same time. Now we and my colleagues said we cannot do justice to teaching other religion. We are in love with Hinduism, so we will do injustice to another religion if we try and teach it. So we said, oh, what to do? Then we discovered something else, which is called International GCSE, set by Cambridge University Board, only Cambridge, and it's called International GCSE, IGCSE, and this is much difficult than GCSE. It's higher than GCSE, but it's international. And when you apply to go to university, if you pass with IGCSE, you get you'll be immediately called for interview. So it's very important. Now IGCSE Hinduism is very valuable because something very exotic and very unusual. Normally people study physics and chemistry and maths. Here is Hinduism, exotic subject. So the university will immediately call you if you study this. And most of our candidates who went to Cambridge, Oxford because of Hinduism, they told me, fair enough, my daughter went to top university because of Hinduism. So Hinduism is a very exotic, interesting subject, and here they were in a very structured manner with proper syllabus, put it across with students can study. We will be the biggest supplier of candidates for GCSE in the United Kingdom. And they said, and when they decided to mix two religions, we said we moved to Cambridge, which is IGCSE. Now they are more difficult, they are more essay type questions, and we started only 2 years back. Last year our grades were very low, B grades, we hated, we want nothing less than 100%. In this year, first time a little girl, tiny little girl got 100% marks at the IGCSE. We hit the target, now we've broken the ice. So next year we'll have half our candidates getting 100%. So this is, and by the way, IGCSE can be studied in any part of the world. You just look up the syllabus from Cambridge Board. Just go on Cambridge Excel, whatever, so Cambridge Board on Google, and look up the syllabus, the marking scheme, the questions they ask. And so it's a reasonably balanced syllabus. And then you teach it in your own way, in your own location, and just make sure you find an exam center nearby. Of course, in villages, there's no chance. But in the major cities, there will be an exam center. Say, we are quite happy to accept you as an IGCSE student for Cambridge Board, because they've already been approved by Cambridge. And they can sit for the exam there and get 100% marks, and we'll happy to share our resources with you if you are keen to teach.
Just as a side note, Jay, you may not know this, but 30 years ago I sat for my GCSEs in Hinduism and I got an A.
Manish Bhai, we have to get him some prize next time. It's not right.
So we have Supriya Krishnamurthy who's watching us on Facebook, and she's made an observation saying that there is so much chaos presently in India, saying all the leftists are going out of their way to degrade Hinduism in the name of secularism, but will not dare talk against Abrahamic religions. It is time for us Hindus to understand our spiritual practices on a deeper level, and for Sanatan Dharma to be revived for the betterment of the country. We have another viewer saying also that the Abrahamics are aggressively spreading their religion in India, undermining the Hindu culture. What is the way out for Hindus to save their dharma?
You see, we have done lots of very long sessions addressing the issue of why the Abrahamic tradition are keen to undermine us. Number one, why, and number two, how to respond. I'll just touch on it briefly, but they're already on the YouTube channel. Look up. I'll give you the brief reason why. The thinking youngsters from the Abrahamic tradition are moving away from the religion in droves. In the United Kingdom, the churches are abandoned. I'm telling you, no youth. You'll never find a single youth on Sunday morning in any of the churches in the UK. It's that bad. So they are moving. So what do they do? How do they survive? Let's catch hold of these third world countries where the guileless people say, oh yeah, we like Christ, very good, and convert them by simple thing: bread in one hand and Bible in the other hand. This is nasty. This is bribery. So they will use every ploy to survive. They want to survive. And the only way they can survive is to try and plug in their religion in the third world country. So they're very keen to plug it in, the Abrahamic tradition, number one. Now, number two, why are they trying to undermine us? Very simple. Our tradition is, I'm not joking, serious. Our tradition is so magnanimous. If it enters the world stage, it will enter, by the way, whether it's Vivekananda or whoever is going to enter big time. The Abrahamic tradition will be demolished in 2 ticks. I'll give you an example. 3 things that come out. First of all, Hinduism has this idea of pluralism. Many ways to be spiritual. Abraham said, no, we alone are right. And they're going to get kicked out. Because how can you say everybody's right? Exclusivism, it has to be kicked out. Pluralism has to be adopted. They can't do it. If they do it, their tradition goes into peanuts. They break down straight away. Because they're only my prophet and my way is destroyed in 1 minute. So the word pluralism will frighten the hell out of them. So they don't want this to become visible in the world. Second very important vision is the idea of reincarnation. It's not some fluffy thing, some woolly thing. It's very serious. If the world adopts the idea of reincarnation, all the 3 Abrahamic traditions crash. Because they're talking about 2 life scenarios, this one and the next ever life. That's gone now permanently. Everybody's coming back in nappies and continue to progress spiritually. So how can they tolerate it? Second. The third place where we really hit the target is this. We said this idea of focusing on a God in heaven is okay. It's like a useful tool. But really what we are in search of is our true nature. So our essential nature is spiritual. Essentially we are spirit. This is called spiritual humanism. Human beings are not special because of, Richard Dawkins said certain things go together through accidental evolution. That's why we are not. It's rubbish. The real answer comes that something underpinning this physical frame is spiritual, and only our tradition gives this dignity to human beings, saying, "Sir, you are the spark of the old. You are the spark of divine. You are essentially divine, not sinners." Now you see the other 3 Abrahamic traditions; they're in trouble straight away. This idea of focusing on humanity as something more than material it can knock out, if you like, secularism in 1 minute, and also knock out this idea of Abrahamic tradition that you are sinners. What sinners? So you can see why they are so frightened of Hinduism gaining, full credence. I struggle with BBC. They can't allow this. They will lose the whole Abrahamic tradition. Will be demolished in 2 ticks if I put these 3 ideas across: pluralism, spiritual humanism, and this idea of 2 life scenario. That's not right. So straight away, that is why they are so strongly worked up against Hinduism and trying to undermine it. How to avoid it? Very simple. Give your own youngsters and yourself true, structured, not some disjointed nonsense you picked up from here, there, and everywhere. Structured and sensible means, commonsensical understanding of a tradition and contemporary vision of Hindu. So in the ancient time we had this, Ashwamedh Yagna, and that sorted us out. Come on, grow out. Think of a modern vision of Hinduism, and then you are safe. This is the way you fight this kind of serious issue that we face today.
Thank you, Jay, for sharing your wisdom on all these things. I'm sure the viewers here are enjoying.
I get bit worked up, because I know why the BBC are keeping me down. If I get into the social media, they are in trouble.
So we love exploring many topics on this channel. One of the topics we do explore frequently is the topic of yoga and meditation. And so one of the viewers have asked, what is your thought on the Surya Namaskar?
Okay. You see, Surya Namaskar is more to do with Hatha Yoga than kind of Raj Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Hatha Yoga means physical postures and exercises you do for better health. Now, I've seen so many videos, I've seen so many accreditation to why Surya Namaskar is a wonderful exercise, a Hatha Yoga exercise, which in a way stretches each part of your body and it can remove serious illnesses you possess and make you a strong person. But apart from that, I'm not going to do Surya Namaskar here, my friends, so watch it.
Brilliant. So one of our regular viewers, Arvind Benaka, has just been asking us a question, that why is it that the rishis, whenever you go to an elder or the rishis, they would bless you with Ayushman Bhava. Why is that like a default go-to blessing? And what does it mean?
Okay, suppose you go to a really enlightened person, very few to find, and they are difficult, tricky chaps. If you find an enlightened person, the Ramana Maharshi, whoever, suppose you find, and if you are lucky is the right word, to get his blessing, whatever you say, suppose he gives you anything that comes out of his lips, and then that blessing will come true. My friend, I'm telling you, promise you. You know why? One of the unique features about all prophets of all world religions is they were establishing truth. So what they thought, what they said, and what they did is kind of mashed up, so kind of fully joined up with truth, and a way kind of anchored in truth. As they were anchored in truth, this is what my master Sri Ramakrishna said. Once you're anchored in truth, something weird happens. Then suppose you say, it's going to rain. Rain will come. Because you're anchored in truth, rain will appear from nowhere and hit you. So suppose they say you recover, like in the story of Christ. You will recover. Because anchored in truth, and the words that come out has to come true, because the thinking, the verbal and the action are linked up with them. So when the words come out of the lips, you are blessed, you live for long life, whatever, they'll come true, my friend. So it's not a joke, not a minor thing. But for that to happen, you need to go to a person who is established in truth. There are very few. Why? What they think, what they say, and what they do are joined up completely. Sticklers for truth is the right word, sticklers. When you find some of them, God, you are lucky. And if they bless you, your life is made.
Amazing. So, Jeba, this is a question from me. So, I have been a little bit unclear on exactly what is Maya. I know it is something that we have to fight against, but I don't understand the meaning or the purpose, etc. So, would you be able to explain on this? And maybe some of the viewers may have a similar question, so thinking about it.
This is the real googly you've thrown at me. This is the real googly of the googlies. Okay, I'm telling you, that's what Maya is about. Why do you ask difficult questions? Anyway, this one is one of the most beautiful material that come out of Hindu philosophy, and the only resolution to the human condition. Why the pure, pristine Brahman manifests as this cancerous, jagged, cruel world that we can encounter. Why, oh why? And whenever this question has been thrown at the rishis, when people are enlightened, they run away. They say, Maya,
Stopped.
Maya. There is a permanent. This is how Swami Vivekananda defined Maya. It's nice for us to explore it. With Adi Shankara, the definition of Maya was as follows. He says an illusion. That's how he defined it. He said, suppose in the evening you're walking and you see a piece of rope, and in the evening darkness you think it's a snake coming to bite me, and you go, you get frightened. He said Maya is the illusion that we have regarding nature of reality. So that is how Adi Shankara brought in the word Maya. Nothing wrong. That's the best example he could give. And Vivekananda came with a much more deeper vision. He said, do you know what Maya is? It is not some illusion, because the illusion you can overcome. Suppose you see you are driving in a road in the desert area, and at the end of it you can see some water sparkling. You say there's water there. It's not. It's just the sunlight that is kind of in a way being kind of diverted from the sky into your eyes and make you feel there's water there. So that you can overcome it. You can use some kind of technology whereby you can overcome that illusion of the water at the end of the road. So that you can overcome. But that is, if you like, Adi Shankara's idea kind of fails or kind of is reduced. But Vivekananda came with a different definition. He said there is a permanent disjoint between what is and what it appears as. underpinning is Brahman. You say, oh, this is Brahman, nothing but Brahman. But no, I don't see that. And there's why not? What's the disjoint? There must be some link. This must be causing that. There's no causal link either. So this disjoint, permanent disjoint which you cannot overcome is called Maya. That is why this is called the googly of the googlies. He's saying there is no way you can explain this disjoint that is there with what is and what it appears as. Now you may think, Mr. Lakhani, you say, this is Vivekananda who's passed away about 100 years back. Now what is your take? My take is even deeper, if you can use that word. You say, I come from physics. And the best example of Maya I discovered is quantum. That's the heart of physics. Physical or most physical science is physics. At the heart of physics sits this phenomena since 1920s called quantum. And people go, don't tell me, don't, just as you said, don't ask about Maya. When you go to any scientist, a genuine scientist, say, explain this quantum, they'll say, go away. Richard Feynman, a very, very astute scientist, a very lovely personality. By the way, he was a womanizer, that's the bad part about it. He used to go around to every university and say, now, what is quantum? Not a single hand would go up from any scientist anywhere in any university. It's still the same. So this idea of Maya that we are kind of struggling with is the same thing being struggled with in quantum physics. And it's not been sorted out now. It's nearly 100 years. Not been sorted out. So what is quantum all about? Maya is saying underpinning to this reality, despite appearance, it's all physical, surely. Richard Dawkins, all physical, electrons and protons and quarks and all that, and superstring, all that is a physicality. That is how the universe is made of. All these little things can join up together and produce these complex things, including human beings. This is how the purely materialistic vision. And suddenly quantum comes from nowhere and knocks the heck out of it, saying, no. Underpinning to reality says quantum physics, the father of quantum physics, Werner Heisenberg and Erwin Schrödinger, said, we guarantee it's not material. You say, but how do you explain it? See, the same issue. Underpinning something different from what it appears as, what's the link? That's we don't know. And
they have yet to define that.
No, they can't. There's a permanent disjoint between what is and what it appears as. It's called this important issue of, in quantum physics called the wave collapse problem. So this remains there in quantum physics. It's nothing but they're rediscovering Maya using physics. And I love it. I love physics and I love Hinduism. So I'm kind of enjoying this kind of tussle between physics, trying to explain the quantum, and the idea of Maya that comes from the ancient teachings of the Hindus.
Amazing.
I can't give you any better. Otherwise, we both pull our hair. Look, hair falling out.
I still have a couple of questions. I'm going to ask you one last question from my side.
Okay.
And this is regarding moksha. So, what is moksha besides stepping off the wheel of samsara, right? And what is it supposed to achieve exactly?
Okay. You see, if you think moksha, there's a big misunderstanding with most Hindus. They think, or even the Western, academics, they somehow think moksha means Hindus are running away from life. They want to, kind of snuff out life. Hinduism doesn't have that. By the way, the Jain tradition talks of nirvana. That is like snuffing out your being. Moksha is quite different. Even though we come from the same background tradition, we use different vocabulary. Moksha is simply saying, it's not you run away from life, or you kind of, say, okay, the life is boring and getting tiresome, I want to give it up and I want to attain moksha, as if that is running away. We never teach stuff like that. This is the deeper vision of moksha. Moksha doesn't mean you kind of get snuffed out, and what happens to you then after moksha? You just kind of get demolished. You get demolished? No. To the contrary, moksha is simply, I'm telling you the Sanskrit meaning again, moha kshaya. There is a delusion for which we kill ourselves. You know what's the delusion? We all feel that if I can fulfill this desire, then I've sorted myself out. Then I've sorted my human condition out. There is a inbuilt in every living thing, not only human being, that if I can fulfill this desire, they kind of desires like can infect us all the time and keep popping up. When you fulfill one, 3 more will arrive. So this inbuilt desire fulfilling issue is the thing in a way infecting all of the living kingdom, not even all living kingdom, just sorting themselves, eat this, drink this. And this is in a way keeping us rolling on, saying, yes, this is it, I must chase after this, chase after this. Moksha simply says, my friend, after a lot of chasing and getting whacked in the process, we all get whacked. We wanted this, and when you get there, we feel, well, that's a waste of time. So we keep chasing after desires, and we don't seem to come to any end, any conclusion. And this is said, moha, delusion, regarding fulfilling of desires will sort you out. So end of delusion that you can sort yourself out by chasing desires. This is the meaning of the word moksha. End of the delusion. Now how can this happen? Well, a few ways. For example, suppose you are a very sober person and you say, I wanted that, I got it and I got nothing. Look, I went on a cruise and said, I must go to sea and sand. Wow, I've made. In 2 seconds, I saw it as, okay, now what? Fizzle down. That means, oh dear, I was chasing after this, and there's hardly any stuff in it. It's just very fluffy, and it's kind of just shadowy. That kind of maturity should arise in any individual, saying this chasing after does not sort me out at all, it just gives me a little fizz, phew, and then it disappears in 2 ticks. Like a straw catching fire, disappears. So what was I chasing after? So you say, no, I must chase after this now. I must go to Tibet, I must go and meditate in the cave. Get all the desires popping up non-stop, and we keep chasing after it like fools. All of us are like fools, keep chasing after it, and we think we'll sort ourselves out if we do that. Moksha is saying, my boy, this will not be. Same as Buddhism. Buddhism is no different, slightly different variation in the vocabulary. The same thing. They're saying desires is the cause of our problem. Suffering is cause of suffering is desires. Unfulfilled, frustrated desires cause suffering. So Buddha said, get over desires. That's exactly what Buddha is teaching. So moksha is basically rising above the idea that fulfilling desires will sort me out. We all chase after it. It's like trying to catch shadows. And we don't learn our lesson unless we get really beaten up quite a lot. We get so many whacks, we say, oh, didn't work. And then we become mature. And that maturity of rising above desires is called moksha. You don't get snuffed out. Do you know what's the difference? When you gain moksha, you don't give up your body even. You enjoy your body. But now, before moksha, you are living like a slave of the world that you encountered. Don't you notice, for example, I see this, I see that good food there, I must munch it. So moksha in a way makes, the normal life makes us kind of slaves of the world that we encounter.
Yes.
We're slavish about this and that. We can't avoid it. This beautiful car, I must have that. So we become slaves of the universe, slaves of the creation that we inhabit. Moksha means instead of living like a slave, instead of living like a beggar, you become the master. None of them bother me. So then I live more fully. Yahoo! I am the master rather than the slave of the world that I encounter. This is the meaning of moksha. And there are people who attain it. Like Ramana Maharshi, do you think he was interested in this food or that food and all that? Oh, he couldn't be bothered. One piece of white piece of cloth and he was happy. And that is called moksha. While you are living here, you don't have to die.
Brilliant. Folks, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast for today. As usual, it's coming up to almost an hour since we started, so we will bring it to a close. Thank you so much again for joining us. Wherever you're watching from, please do let us know in the comments area where you do watch it from, because it helps us tailor the conversation to suit what you need wherever you are. Finally, one more request from me is to share the content that you see online so that more viewers can come and access the information that we've been sharing over the past couple of months. And as always, I like to close with a quote from Swami Vivekananda. And this is regarding when I looked at the conversation today, a lot of people were talking about Hinduism going down in India and secularism and all these kind of topics. But what I'd like to tell you is that Swami Vivekananda said, learn everything that is good in others, but bring it in, and in your own way absorb it, but do not become others. So be an example for yourself, lead by example, let the rest of the world follow you. Thanks. Bye-bye for now. We'll see you next week on Saturday.
Thank you, Rishit. Thank you very much. You're a wonderful co-host.
Okay, bye-bye for now.